Welcome to Resilience and Resolve with Lance Drury.
Welcome to Resilience and Resolve. I'm Evan Mack with tax attorney Lance Drury. Today's topic, the self-employed tax trap, from missed quarterly payments to 1099 chaos. We'll break down why so many independent professionals find themselves in IRS trouble. Welcome back, Lance.
How you doing, Evan? Good to see you
I'm
today.
well. Good to be seen. So why do self-employed individuals face higher risks of IRS problems?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. The first one is, and self-employed people comprise 70% or more of my clients because the taxes aren't automatically taken out. And so they don't make their estimated tax payments on a quarterly period all the time. But I think there's a couple reasons for that. You know, what happens is somebody goes belly up on them. They don't pay their bill. And to keep the business going, they pay their employees, they pay their suppliers, and they think next quarter they're going to catch up and get even with Uncle Sam. And then it just kind of snowballs. The other reason I think is, during bad economic times, a lot of self employed people have a terrible time making ends meet. Everybody thinks being self employed is the American dream, but it's really not. I think I read something like a few years ago that 75% of self employed individuals make $70,000 to $75,000 a year or less. And that's before they have to fund their retirement and before they have to get their own medical care. And then they work long hours. They get home at night. The last thing they want to do is paperwork. So guess what? Not just Uncle Sam, but any type of work, paperwork just sits because they're too tired to do it. And they don't realize when they become self-employed how much paperwork there is. There's so many regulations. There's so much paperwork when you're self-employed that it just takes a lot of time when you're self-employed to do the kind of things that need to be done to run it properly. And they're great at what they do, but a lot of them just don't know how to run a business because they haven't had the experience in doing that before.
So, what kind of mistakes do you think people make when they're kind of estimating their tax liability?
Well, they don't put down the right amount. We had a guy once, and it was every quarter he was paying the payroll tax, but he was either sending it in late or he didn't send in the proper amount, and he just continued to incur liability. So when we finally finished his case, got him a resolution, we sent him a closing letter and said, you need to get an accountant. You need to get a bookkeeper. You need to have somebody else take care of these books because you're not going to have the time to do it. You're not going to do it properly. We got you an agreement. If you don't stay on the straight and narrow, guess what? You're not going to be able to pay your taxes moving forward. And the IRS is going to fault the agreement that we negotiated for you. You've wasted all your money then in hiring us to get you a resolution because, as you know, Evan, one of the conditions of any agreement with the IRS is you're going to be 100% compliant moving forward, which means you're going to pay on time and file on time, or they're going to default any agreement that you have with them.
Wow. So what about that paper trail? How can failing to track the expenses, how can that worsen your tax bill, Lance?
Well, your tax bill is going to get higher because you can't take the expenses that you don't have documentation for. Some people do, but then when they get audited, guess what? They're going to be in big trouble. They may get in criminal trouble because of that. So you've got to be committed. If you're going to go into business for yourself, we've talked about this before, you need to have a separate bank account for the business. You need to put only business income into that account. You need to pay only business expenses from that account. And that way, you know what you make. You can see the beginning balance at the beginning of the month, the ending balance at the end of the month. Then you know how much money you have. And don't wait until the end of the quarter to make your estimated tax payments. Uncle Sam will take your money anytime. Trust me. And so to make sure that people don't wait till the end of the quarter, because they probably have spent the money that's supposed to go to the IRS. And so pay it at least on a monthly basis. Take your profit for that month. Send a check for 20 to 25% to Uncle Sam, but make sure you notate that check properly. You have to put the EIN name of the business. You have to say that it's a 941. You have to put that it's for estimated tax payments for the current year, because if you do all that, they're going to apply that payment to the back taxes. You've defeated the whole purpose in sending that payment in. So when people hire us, we tell them as part of the fee, we will send those in to the IRS for you by certified mail, because we want to make sure that they're notated properly. Or they can send them in over the IRS website electronically, but make sure you get confirmation for us so we can confirm that you did it properly.
But what if your payments or the income is unpredictable? You said when they should pay, but what happens if it fluctuates because they are their own boss? What would you suggest they do if they have that unpredictable kind of income stream?
Well, that's why you want to pay monthly, because in one month you may have a lot of profit and you're only sending in money for that month. But for the second month, you could be sending in a much different figure because the business hasn't made that much money. You don't want to wait till the end of the quarter, because the money that's there to pay for January, say of the first month of the first quarter, is not going to be there because you're going to spend it. So that's the other reason why you want to do this on a monthly basis instead of sending it in at the end of the quarter, is because send it in when you have the money, when you make the money. Give Uncle Sam his fee right then and there. Don't wait, because, it's just human nature. Think, I got all this money, I can spend more money now.
Yeah. Can you talk about that, the 1099 and the W-2? How does the IRS treat those two, like the income, differently when it comes to those two forms?
Well, I don't know if they treat it differently, but the major distinction is there's withholding on your W-2s. And the only
Hmm.
people who get in trouble then in terms of not paying their taxes are those people who have under withheld their tax withholdings. So as long as you go into your payroll department, your HR department, and tell them, here, I want enough taken out, but not too much, they can rectify that for you. And so, in terms of that, you're okay. But for the 1099, you've got to calculate for yourself, or your bookkeeper or your payroll provider has to calculate how much money should go in so that you stay on the straight and narrow for that. So the major difference is the taxes are withheld with the W-2s, but they're not with the 1099s. So that's just something else that comes with being self-employed.
Can you recall a time or any case that you had where it was something like, crazy, some crazy kind of tax number or something because of a person that was employed that kind of didn't pay taxes? Do you have any stories about that?
Well, I do. I mean, it's not too hard. It's not too hard to have a six-figure payroll tax liability for numerous reasons. But
Wow.
there's one I want to tell you in particular. I had a firm from the state of Illinois. They owed well over $1 million. And I don't recall the reasons for all of that, but they hired a firm out of Colorado, paid them 2,500 bucks a month, paid them $30,000, and they would say that they would call us and say, we need this information today. They were sitting on notices from the IRS without advising their client until the 11th hour.
Wow.
And so when they hired us, they had just been levied. One levy was for like $1 million, I think. The other one. So they called me. In fact, they came down to talk to me. No, I take that back. It was a phone call with their accountant. And so, we told them, and they said, can you guarantee you can get the levy lifted? I said, no, I can't guarantee you that, but we've had good luck doing that. And so they hired us the next morning at 7:30 in the morning. And before the day was over, we got both levies lifted. And within a month's time, we had negotiated a settlement for both of their tax problems. And they were ecstatic. They had to pay me more than what they paid the firm in Colorado, but they got it resolved. They saved a lot. They probably only paid back 25% of the total debt. They
Wow.
had a quick resolution. And normally I don't get them a resolution till they're paid in full. But on this, I thought these guys are going to do what they say they're going to do. And they paid us every last dime. So they're happy. We're happy that we could help them out. But you got to watch who you hire, because there's a lot of bad actors out there.
Do you have any tools or habits or tips that to help freelancers kind of stay compliant in this, the subject we're talking about?
Well, you just need to pay your taxes every quarter. You got to pay those payroll taxes, because that is the biggest priority for Uncle Sam. If you continue to incur payroll tax liability, they're eventually going to want to shut you down, because the last thing they want to see you do is to stay in business and continue to pyramid that liability. So the first thing is, when you have a tax problem, when they hire us, I tell them, don't worry about the back taxes. That's what you've hired us for. You need to start making your current taxes on time. That will not only ensure that you're compliant moving forward, but it's a win-win for the taxpayer, because guess what? Those estimated tax payments are an allowable expense in determining your ability to pay on the back taxes. So let's say you're paying $3,000 a month on payroll taxes. That's $3,000 less a month you're going to have to pay on the back payroll taxes. And Uncle Sam does not have forever to collect the tax. So just don't worry about the back taxes. Just start being compliant moving forward and call us. We'll take care of the back taxes for you.
So what do you say to someone who's already fallen way behind and they want to fix things right now? And I know you say you take care of the back taxes, but should they just call you up and you guys just handle everything, or should they do other things before they call you?
No, just call us up and we'll advise you, as I have here, to start being compliant, because neither I nor anybody else can get you a resolution if you're not going to start being compliant moving forward. The other thing is that you need legal assistance, particularly when you have a revenue officer, and you're more likely to have a revenue officer for payroll taxes because it's a big priority for the IRS. Well, they're going to want all this information. They're going to want it now. And guess what? Or they're going to levy. People say they hire me after they've been levying. They say, well, I sent everything in. And we come to find out, no, they didn't, because it's so confusing, so complicated to the average person. They miss out on it. And the revenue officer is not going to tell them to call them up and say, hey, you're missing this or that. Right. We will tell them, if there's anything else you need, get a hold of us. And so they extend that courtesy more to us than the average taxpayer. And then the other thing is, they want everything done and they want it now. They want that information or they're going to levy you right away. So those revenue officer cases where they want information, that's as high a priority as we have. We have to drop everything, spend all this time. And then, Evan, guess what? We submit all that information to the revenue officer, and then they sit on it for months. You know, we can't sit on it for months, but they can sit on it for months.
Absolutely.
And so it's a big joke in the tax resolution industry. I'll go to seminars, and it's a big joke about how you got to rush to get all this done, or they're going to financially destroy your client. But then once they get it, they're going to sit on it for 3 to 6 months.
Lance, thank you so much for your time again, sir.
Thank you, Evan. Always great to see you.
Awesome. Now, everyone at home, if you're self-employed and stressed about taxes, don't wait for the IRS to show up. Visit LanceDruryLaw.com to get a custom plan moving forward. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.